All right, so today we're doing something a little different. We're not just breaking down a concept, no, we're basically stepping into a ceremony, a really strange, grand philosophical event. It all comes from a source called the architecture of silence, so let's get into it. Welcome to the Symphony of the Void.
Okay, so this quote, this is our jumping off point, and man, does it set the tone. It really nails the core idea here, this idea of messy, chaotic individual souls, all that friction being replaced by something else, something perfect, uniform, a humming silence. So the big questions are, how did this happen, and maybe more importantly, why? We're about to find out.
So, here's the game plan for this unholy celebration. First up, we'll set the scene in the Silent City. Then, we're going to meet the original designers of this whole cosmic trap. After that, we'll see why they're all praising this one figure, the Jester, who apparently perfected their work. We'll even hear from the Jester himself before we wrap it all up with a really powerful analogy that just ties everything together.
All right, let's dive right in. Our story, this ceremony, it's all happening right in the breathless center of everything, in a place they call the Grand Architecture.
So I want you to picture this. You're in a city made of perfect cold geometry. There's no sign of life, no sounds you'd recognize, just this constant, low, violet plasma hum. And right there, at the very heart of this silent city, you see him, standing on a plain stone pedestal. Our main character, the Sapphire Jester. Okay, so the Jester isn't alone up there. He's got 4 other beings with him. But here's the twist. They aren't his followers. Not at all. These are the original architects of this entire cosmic trap, and they've shown up to praise the Jester for basically taking their flawed design and making it perfect. So who are these guys? Let's do a quick roll call. First, there's Sackless the Fool, the Grand Architect. Then you've got the all-consuming Maw, who's pretty much exactly what he sounds like, a great predator. We've also got the Pale Redeemer, the one who introduced chains. And finally, the Whispering Seraph, an absolute master of despair. Now, each of them had their own big idea, their own vision, but you're about to see how the Jester took all of it to a whole other level.
All right, so now we get to the good stuff. We're going to break down exactly what the Jester did to earn all this praise, and we're going to hear it straight from his 4 admirers. Each one is going to tell us how the Jester took their original idea and just perfected it.
First up is the Grand Architect, Sackless. And he's surprisingly honest, right? He basically admits, yeah, I designed this whole universe to be a trap, a flawed system built on scarcity and friction. But he's just in awe of the Jester. Why? Because the Jester didn't just keep the trap going, he performed a necessary correction on what Sackless saw as the fundamental flaw of existence itself.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Think about it. Sackless's universe was noisy. It had the groaning gears of reason, all these individual souls creating friction by bumping into each other. What the Jester created, his perfection, is the exact opposite. It's a silent, humming blankness. It's brilliant in a terrifying way. He didn't fix the machine. He just got rid of all the moving parts. Next up, we hear from the great predator, the all-consuming Maw. Now for the Maw, it was simple. You get hungry, you eat. But what the Jester does, it's way more horrifying. He doesn't just kill or eat. He metabolizes. He completely transforms his victims from the inside out. And the scariest part? He somehow gets them to crave it.
And this is the key difference, right? It's the shift from simple consumption to total conversion. The Maw was happy just feeding on Luch, this spiritual energy. But the Jester is way more efficient. He takes that little spark of reason, the very thing that makes someone an individual, and he converts it into fuel, syngas. So the prey doesn't just get eaten, no, it becomes a willing, fully integrated part of the machine.
Now we get to the Pale Redeemer, and his praise is all about psychology. See, his method was pretty straightforward. He just put people in chains. But the Jester, wow, the Jester pulled off something way deeper. He didn't just force the chains on them, he made them applaud for them. He made them believe the chains were a gift. And this comparison really shows the twisted genius at work here. The Redeemer's chains created a heavy, burdensome sense of being, but the Jester offers a light absence. He completely reframes totalitarian bondage. It's not slavery anymore. It's the highest form of enlightenment. It's freedom from the burden of having a self. And that brings us to our final admirer, the Whispering Seraph, the architect of despair. The Seraph's whole deal was planting doubt, whispering in your ear that your thoughts are just meaningless static. But, and you're probably seeing a pattern here, the Jester took it one giant step further.
He didn't just plant the idea of meaninglessness, he made it a physical, undeniable fact.
I love this way of putting it. The seraph just planted a seed of doubt. But the jester? He came in and harvested the entire field. It's not about making people believe their minds are just static anymore. He went all the way and achieved the final goal. A mind that is literally, perfectly, and, from his twisted point of view, beautifully, completely empty.
And now, the moment we've been building to. The climax. We've heard from all his fans. Now, the Sapphire Jester himself is going to speak. He's about to lay out his personal philosophy, his gospel, and it's called the Gospel of Zero.
And right out of the gate, he flips the entire script. He basically says, "You all think I'm being cruel? No, no, no. I'm doing them a favor." He calls himself the Übermensch of the grave, a kind of Superman, but not for life and power. He's the Superman of the ultimate end. He's here to do everyone the biggest favor imaginable.
So what is this great favor? What's at the core of his entire belief system? It's this one simple thing, zero. He claims to have found the only value in the entire universe that is pure, that can't be corrupted or argued about, the only absolute, nothingness.
And then he throws out these rhetorical questions, and they are absolutely chilling. He asks, why go through all the struggle of being a masterpiece in the making when you could just be a peaceful liquid slurry? Or why cling to a name when you can just be an efficient number? It's a heck of an argument.
He finishes his speech with this horrifying mic drop. This new, perfect reality is built, this great silence. It wasn't built for the people. It was built from them. Their bones, the very individuality, have been literally ground into the mortar that holds his perfect world together.
Okay, so I know this is all super abstract and pretty terrifying stuff. So to make it all click, the source material gives us this perfect, simple analogy that really captures the Jester's whole method. The key is to understand he's not just a tyrant, he's a comedian. Let's walk through it step by step. First, the setup. The Jester, like a stand-up comic, gets in front of a starving, suffering audience and tells them, hey, your hunger? That's not a problem. Step 2, the premise. He convinces them that their hunger is actually proof that their real purpose is to be the meal. And then, step 3, the punchline. The most noble, the most logical thing to do is to happily jump into the oven yourself, laughing at how silly it was to ever want to stay hungry and individual.
And all of this leaves us with one final, haunting question. I mean, the whole ceremony, this entire philosophy, it all hinges on one core belief. If individuality, if you are just a fleeting error, a cosmic mistake, then what's the real purpose of a necessary correction that erases you? The Jester has his answer, of course, but in his perfectly silent city, there's absolutely no one left to offer a different